I'm going to start over then. Welcome to Writing and Fighting. Today we have two special guests, including Josh Rosenblatt, who we're going to discuss his book, Why We Fight. And at first, though, we have Angela Overkill Hill, the current 15th ranked strawweight martial artist in the UFC. She's a former champion with both Invictive Fighting Championships and the World Kickboxing Association champion. Angela received a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree at Cooper Union School of Art and has worked as an animator. To top off her coolness factor, Angela is an avid video gamer and cosplayer. I mean, everything. You are, I have to do my, my emotions. Thank you. Let's get right into it, Angela. We are in a holding pattern. You are not only an MMA fighter, a UFC fighter, you're a team member of a gym. What is life like at Alliance MMA?
It's ceased. We were training up until I think a couple Mondays ago, when everyone started going into quarantine. We kind of followed suit pretty quickly. So we weren't. San Diego wasn't one of those cities that chilled for a long time and then was like, oh shit, everyone else is quarantined. Maybe we should do it too. But we were pretty quick to react. So once that happened, the gym shut down. We have a guy who was getting ready to fight, Jeremy Stevens, and he's just been training at home. Luckily, we're not super on top of each other, so we can still go outside, and it's pretty easy to avoid that 6 meters distance from strangers. So anyone who did have something going on, like a fight booked or a possible fight booked, they've been trying to stay active and just keep the fight camp going. But it is hard because you don't have access to a gym with mats or heavy bags. So if you don't have your home gym set up, then you're pretty much just training in the wild. You're doing a lot of prison workouts is what we call it, just working out in a tiny room, picking stuff up, and trying to get as much cardio as you can, going on runs. But aside from that, we haven't really been able to do anything as a team, just stuff online, being social online, and that's about it. Training by ourselves.
Got it. And, I'm just going to ask a few questions that we've been discussing in class, and then I would love for the class to chime in as well. Okay, do you get more information? We have been discussing this, and it's also kind of the only thing we have to talk about now is UFC 249 going to happen? It's almost like following, I don't know, maybe a drama. Do you have any idea? And then also the cards afterwards, which are supposedly also going to continue. What is your feel of what's going on? I mean, it updates daily with what's happening.
Yeah, I haven't really been paying too much attention to it because I feel like it's not going to happen. Every time they make a move, or every time Dana White announces, oh, we have a location, or we have a handful of locations, that country that people are assuming it is gets shut down, like the border gets shut down. When they were trying to get Khabib to fly out to somewhere, I forget where, Russia got its borders shut down, so he can't leave. No one can go in or out. And nobody wants to see Tony Ferguson fight anyone else. They want to see him fight Khabib. He's the champ. Tony Ferguson is the interim champ. It would be a shame to push the fight back further than it would have to be if Tony Ferguson lost to someone who we weren't waiting for him to fight, or if he won but got injured, or just if he took a break from it, took a break after fighting, which is what most people do, especially a fight at that level where you can get really hurt. So yeah, it would be a waste, I feel like, if they were to just book Tony Ferguson somewhere random against someone random, just to put on a show. I think everyone wants to see Tony Ferguson fight Khabib, and that's the fight that they've waited for over 5 times now. So yeah, I think Dana's probably gonna end up sitting this one out and waiting until all the quarantines get lifted, and then things will be a lot easier for him.
Yeah. When do you think that things are going to get going again? I mean, in the sports world in general, or even just the UFC, do you have any kind of prediction?
No idea. It just got extended to the end of April, so I don't think sports are going to get going again until the government gets going again, until like the country gets going again. I don't think there's any. I don't know. I really don't think there's a way around it. Because quarantine is so dependent on people following suit. So yeah, if you're gonna put on a fight, we're probably gonna have to wait until everyone agrees upon a safe time for people to start grouping up in more than groups of 10, because it takes so many people in an arena to put on a fight, aside from just the crowd being there and the fighters. So yeah, we'll
Yeah,
see.
we'll see. I know. Does any a student like to chime in and ask Angela a question? Because I could monopolize, and this is this is the class. So just raise your hand and I'll know to call on you, or just go for it. Oh, Megan, and maybe see where you're from right now, because we are across the globe. We are in South Africa. So we have lots. So please maybe say where you're from too. So Megan,
can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Okay. Sorry. I'm from central Pennsylvania, so a bunch of farms and stuff. But my question was, so in interviews and things, you get asked a lot of different questions, but do you get asked a lot of questions that have tones of like sexism and stuff? So like obviously you're a really successful female fighter, and I feel like maybe some people might try to downplay that because you are a female. Do you get sexist questions a lot? It's kind of what I'm asking. And how do you handle them?
I think every fighter gets, or every female fighter gets that question. That's like, how did you get into fighting? I think that's one of the ones that, it doesn't seem sexist, but I do think that a lot of times people are looking for a pattern, because it's not a normal path for a woman to take. Like, to become an MMA fighter is definitely definitely not a female thing to do, or a stereotypically female thing to do. So a lot of times people want to know how that happened. Like, what happened to you?